The New Year patch completely flipped the Apex meta. Legends that were throw pick last season are now borderline mandatory. With my 6 years of pro experience, I tested every legend across all ranks to build the most accurate tier list possible. And if you think was still bad, wait until you see where they end up on this list. Let's get started. On January 5th, we finally got the mid-season patch, the Winter Wipeout event. This patch brought a super strong array of changes to the game, with Respawn really looking to bring up legends with a low pick rate. And to kick things off, we're going to be starting with the trash tier. This is going to be the tier of if balance existed, these legends definitely wouldn't. And that first legend we're going to talk about today is going to be Bloodhound. This legend has undergone such a whirlwind of buffs and nerfs throughout the years, at one point being the absolute pinnacle of competitive Apex legends, and to now being an extremely underwhelming character to say the least. Especially over the recent seasons, Respawn sent out a series of nerfs to all recon type characters. And with Bloodhound's kit, they were affected the most, with increases to scan cooldowns to how scan information appears, all the way to decreased ultimate uptime. Current state Bloodhound just isn't very good in any part of their kit, and as such earns themselves a spot in the trash tier. Now moving on, the next legend we're going to talk about is Ballistic. At the start of last season, Ballistic had one of the highest pick rates as his ultimate gave team-wide ground speed and reload buffs. This was so strong that Ballistic was even played at a pro ALGS level consistently. As legends that provide group-wide buffs, especially in teamfight scenarios, can be extremely advantageous for a team of any level. More recently, a series of hefty nerfs were sent Ballistic's way, entirely removing the group-wide buffs when using your ultimate, bringing him from a team fighting machine to just kind of a sub 1 minute octane stim without the damage. In my opinion, I feel like that group-wide buff was his biggest selling point, and without it, he's just a subpar legend. I will say his Q dart is nice in certain situations, but it's just not enough to get him out of this tier. Which brings us to the last and final legend of trash tier, Vantage. Vantage since release just has been missing that separation for other legends to be strong. The Q jumping mechanics have always felt clunky, not smooth, and requiring way too much wind up time to send your bat out. Now I will say the damage from the ultimate isn't that bad, but basically creating a bat signal every time you ADS at your enemy just doesn't make it feel like that covert sniper role you'd want Vantage to be. The only decent redeeming factor to Vantage is more recent change of being able to hit both ring console and UAV. 2-for-1 console value is genuinely nice, but it's sadly not enough to bring them out of trash tier. Thus bringing us to the C tier. This is your more playable, but why would you? More specifically, this is your more niche situational legends that are in desperate need of buffs and changes. Now, while these legends aren't completely useless, let's not pretend they're good either. And to kick it off, we're going to start with a 2-for-1 in the controller class, Rampart and Catalyst. Rampart has historically been a trash tier legend at about just every rank, but recently she's undergone a handful of changes to make her stronger. Specifically, improvements to her deployable walls like increased HP during and after deployment, to more notably her recent change where her walls create sort of a roof. My assumption for this change was due to the fact that if anyone was ever slightly above you, you'd be fully exposed and just killed behind your walls. So this change making any height variation not detrimental to her kit, which I think is genuinely a really positive change. But in the current meta, it doesn't change the fact that you just get straight up inted. And Rampart not having any sort of mobility or escapability, it's just kind of a last stand character, which again isn't very great in the current meta. Now moving on to Catalyst, the same thing kind of applies. Catalyst's value really depends on which map is in rotation, because if you're on a map more so like Storm Point, where everything's kind of in the open and there's not a lot of buildings, you can't really get a lot of value out of their utility kit. And now the Catwall is a great way to cut line of sight or to split teams apart and create isolation, but that kind of recognition is really only found in most higher level players. And again, with the lack of mobility the character has, they just kind of are a last stand character. which just puts him in a not so great in the current meta. Which leads us to the next legend, Gibraltar. His utility isn't completely useless, but usages for them are super niche, as Gibby ult is just mostly dodgeable if it's in the open, and bubble can be broken by more legends that are currently actively played. Whether it's crypto EMPs or Maggie balls, there's just so many counters to this legend in the current rotation. And for the support class, any other legend is just ultimately a better pick. It's really unfortunate to see, as I've even played this character at a grand finals LAN. So seeing this kind of fall from grace is very unfortunate, but he's just in a spot right now where he's in dire need of some buffs. On the topic of buffs, that brings us to Pathfinder. And it's really unfortunate to say, because I don't know what more Respawn could be doing to bring up Pathfinder, because it feels like all of the changes to him have made sense in his character lore, but just still doesn't feel like it's enough. And while the rotational value of Pathfinder is amazing, for a character in the recon class, it just doesn't feel like he's ever really fit in gathering information compared to other recon legends. I think we're all aware of the ongoing issue where Pathfinder's hitbox is a absolute refrigerator. Over the years, they've done several reductions in his hitbox, but he still just feels way too big, which is ultimately why he finds himself in the C tier. Now, I know I'm probably going to get backlash for this, but the last character in the C tier is none other than Ashe. Ashe just isn't the S tier movement character that she used to be after the several reworks. Ashe has way less margin for error, and there's just way better movement options out there. While Tether is very nice when trying to catch someone running away, I feel like it's very situational and really only provides value when the fight is kind of already won. And I think what makes a legend really good right now in the meta is ones that are really the playmaker, not really the closers. While the changes to Ashe's teleport have been very nice, players have really adapted to how the teleport works, and especially with the increased distance, it allows way more time for teams to communicate to line up shots and pre-fire teams coming out of the teleport. For a character that cuts through space and time, you really do go kind of slow when you're going through it. Before we move on, do you guys fuck with the drip? What the heck? Only real ones know who that is. Enough about that, let's get into the B tier now. This is your more solid picks, just not meta. More specifically, we're talking your more viable, but only if you know what you're doing. In the right hands, they are very good, but in the wrong hands, they're just kind of mid. And the first legend we're gonna talk about is Crypto. This New Year's update probably brought some of the most insane buffs to this character we've ever seen, such as going invisible has been incorporated into his base kit and no longer needs a perk. He can trailblaze, get speed boost to his teammates, grab Evo Harvs with his drone. What are we thinking? And if that's not enough, his purple perk literally gives him roughly 7% ult charge per enemy scanned every 10 seconds. I've already seen clips of people abusing this by EMPing, ult excelling, and instantly being able to EMP again after an ult excel plus scanning a team once. I don't know if they actually play test this stuff. And you might be thinking, Madness, well, if you're hyping this up so much, how is he not an S tier or A tier legend? Well, I'll tell you why. While Crypto is in a much better spot right now, he has one of the most unique play styles in Apex Legends, and as such has an incredibly high skill ceiling to play adequately. Because basically getting your drone broke renders you entirely useless in any fight, since his entire kit revolves around that. And even in pro play, you see a lot of players not even able to control a Crypto drone properly and put the drone in the most obvious open spots, getting it broken before the EMPs go off. This character requires a lot of time and dedication to really perfecting how to fly the drone and use his abilities the best way possible. So if you're up for the challenge, it is a great character to learn, but as someone who literally played the character at ALGS LAN, it is not fun to play this character. I mean, oh my god. But enough about that. We're going to be moving on to Mirage. It's kind of funny putting Mirage in B tier because he has historically almost always been a trash tier legend, but I think they've done a very good job of bringing life to this character. Him being moved to a support legend, being able to go invis while rezzing, and even having a short timer after where you stay invis, makes this character able to pull off clutch rezzes that literally no other character could do. Several improvements to his clones over the year also have been great selling points. So while it seems crazy to say Mirage is a safe B tier pick. Which brings us to Wraith. Wraith is in a much better position compared to her past due to the perks giving faster phase wind-up times, allowing for solid disengages from fights, but as players have adapted, it's still kind of easy to just chase down a Wraith. Her teleport, while good in some situations, and having seen some improvements such as gradual speed increases the farther you run, just takes way too long to run the full distance. And if you're solo, players just kind of 3-man take the TP and chase you down with more sustained movement characters. I think bringing back her original fast phase timing and incorporating it into her base kit would make her more viable. But she just doesn't really provide any offensive value and is sort of just a comfort / solo pick. I will add her biggest redeeming factor is that successfully kidnapping someone with your portal is probably one of the best feelings in Apex Legends. Real quick, if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for a bunch of future FPS content. Now let's get back to the video. And that brings us to another support legend, Conduit. This character's been through a roller coaster of buffs and nerfs, but currently finds herself in a pretty comfortable B spot. With all the improvements that have been made to her Q, she finds herself incredibly viable in a massive array of fight situations. Whether it's a situation where you trade damage on an entry, with the Q, it allows you to keep pushing forward and take advantage of that entry. If an enemy gets hard damage on you, it allows a great way to reset your health and also keep fighting. I've been in a ton of fights where I get hard entry on a team, push, and put myself into a vulnerable position, thinking they're low, only to find I swing into the fight and they're full HP because 2 of them have been full conduit queued. So for any players that like playing a more supportive class, this is a great option. Her ultimate is also great for either trapping teammates or staggering pushes to allow more time to either run or heal up. So for players that like the more support playstyle, this character is a great option. Now this one is going to be a 2-for-1, and we're going to be talking about Sparrow and Seer. It's interesting finding both these legends in the B tier, as they were at one point the most overpowered and busted legends in the game. But recent changes have really brought them down. And the biggest one I want to talk about is from Sparrow. And that recent change being how the ultimate works. So if you don't know, now when you Sparrow ult, that proximity of the dart will actually slow allies and yourself. This is kind of the main reason why Sparrow finds themselves in the B tier, because now with Sparrow's ult, you can't just jump them on your feet or really wherever you want. It requires way more spatial awareness, and especially awareness of where your teammates are, as you can easily get yourself or your teammates killed. And to be quite honest, players having that kind of awareness is just not very common in middle or even higher ranked players. I do think Sparrow is better than Seer. And while I do think the recent changes to Seer have been very good, there's just no hard selling point to me that makes him insane. Don't get me wrong, he is a good recon class character, but what makes Sparrow a little bit better is he at least has some mobility where Seer has basically none. The character is like solely a backline character that kind of relies on your teammates not inting. And the problem is when your teammates do int, you're probably gonna have a hard time getting out alive. His increased deploy time to his Qs and more accurate heartbeats do make him a viable pick, but just not in the meta kind of category. The next legend not in the meta category is going to be Fuse. Now, don't get me wrong, in the right hands, the offensive utility of Fuse is almost unmatched, except by one legend. The Knuckles being able to apply constant and annoying pressure to teams can really force them into situations that favor you winning the fight, or being able to completely trap them in a Fuse ult. Fuse actually used to be a clear S tier legend back when you could exploit increasing the radius of your Fuse ult for walls by shooting it on top of deployable balloons. But that has since been changed to be a set radius no matter what the distance or height is. And ever since then, I don't really feel like he's been a standout legend. But again, if players can recognize how to apply pressure and corner teams with his utility kit, it's a great option. I personally find the character a lot of fun and wouldn't consider it a throw pick. And the last legend that I wouldn't consider a throw pick anymore is Octane. In the recent rework, we have seen some of the most insane changes to Octane since his release, which was almost 4 years ago, by the way. I had to look it up. If you haven't read over any of the notes, Octane received massive improvements to his stim, and we saw the introduction of a brand new stim that heals him right after using his adrenaline stim. And based on his current health, he can heal up to 9 health per second. And if that wasn't enough, not only does he get immune to bullet slow, but it also makes him fortified for a set period, giving him 15% reduction in damage. Hold on, wait, there's more. Not only that, but if him or his teammates take his bounce pad with the perk, his teammates also receive the healing, fortified, and speed buff for a small duration after taking the bounce pad, making this character a team inting machine. Now, for the sake of this video being so early, that is why I currently have him in B tier, but I'm starting to see a lot of pro players bring this character out, and by the time the next season comes out, he might find himself even higher on the list. But I really think Octane is the best he's ever been right now, and if you are an Octane lover, now is the time to go and play him. I'm really excited to see how this character develops over the following week. Things are really starting to heat up because now we're moving on to the A tier. And this is where we see which legends really start to shine in the current meta. The A tier legends are strong, reliable, and consistently winning fights. These legends straight up don't need any excuses. They just perform. And the first legend we're going to talk about that just performs is going to be Revenant. And from experience, this is a controller player favorite for a very good reason. This character's ultimate just turns you into the Terminator, especially if you can level up to purple Evo and get your hands on an over armor. This character feels damn near indestructible when you ult. What really makes the ultimate so good is it requires way less positional awareness in fight. Players can take insane ego chows and still find a way to come on top, solely due to the insane amount of armor they have. And speaking from experience, controller players love this because it allows them to just get in there, turn their brain off, not that it really worked in the first place, and just take a gunfight to someone's face. Another thing that makes this character incredibly strong is the jump mechanic. Being able to go so far with the jump and it not being on the most insane cooldown makes for great ways to either catch someone solo or trying to run away, or even to escape yourself to reset. If there was ever a TED Talk on being a professional griefer, I promise Revenant would be the one doing that speech. But enough about that, let's move on to the next legend in the A tier, which is Bangalore. Similar to other legends, this character's also seen a whirlwind of buffs and nerfs since the game released in 2019, but currently finds herself being a very well-rounded character for really any type of player. I mean, the character is fantastic at entering fights, being able to disengage from fights, cut LOSs with bang smokes, force teams inside buildings or out of areas with bang ult. I mean, the character just does it all. If you've ever watched pro play before, it's actually insane to see what this character does, especially with the recent changes to the bang ult. Those changes making her ult rockets basically energized and blow up any deployables in its area. I mean, watching a full team turtle behind a Newcastle wall just to have it blown up by one missile and fully expose a team is absolutely busted. And because Bangalore is good for just about any type of player, she finds herself safely in the A tier. And next up, we have Loba. Loba is another character that has seen some massive improvements. And I mean massive. With various improvements to her utility kits, such as faster ult charge times, ability to grab banners in Loba ult, and more importantly, the recent change to allow for double bracelet charges really gives her a ton of mobility, making this character a great option for more support-styled players that like to help out the team while still maintaining the vital escapability factor when things go south. There's currently very few characters in Apex that can catch a Loba. Because of this, it makes her extremely viable in any tier of ranked play and is a fantastic pick for any players who enjoy the support role. So now we're going to talk about two legends that really haven't been A tier up until recently. Those two controller legends being Wattson and Caustic. In recent seasons, Wattson has received some crazy reworks to how her kit functions, most notably being the electrified doors when you put a fence even just near them. If any enemy tries to interact or kick the door, they're immediately stunned, slowed, and damaged, making it way harder for any team trying to entry into a building to push a Wattson. The only caveat that just doesn't really make her an S tier legend is again the fact that she doesn't really have any mobility. She's not really a carry type of legend. Which brings us to the better side of the controller legends being Caustic. Caustic also has seen some recent changes which increase the amount of barrels that he can deploy, being able to heal inside his gas, and when standing in his ult has insanely fast barrel reset timers. I kind of feel like this character takes everything that Wattson does, but does it way better in a more offensive manner, which in the current meta makes it way stronger. Being able to gas out any team in a vulnerable position or turtling in a building alone can win you the fight. And when characters' abilities alone can win you fights, it just makes them absolutely insane to have. And being on the topic of carrying fights, we're going to talk about a legend that quite literally carries you out of fights, and that being Newcastle. Newcastle did just receive some quality of life features, notably being increased movement speed when rezzing, as well as increased movement speed of your attack shield. Now, while this legend does require your team to be successful, damn can this character make up for a lot of mistakes. I think you know a character is busted when you knock someone on a team, push them, they reset, and you end up dying because you didn't have that character. Just proves how insane Newcastle is. To me, he is an absolute staple of the support class, and when people know how to use his tack and wall, it takes a lot to take down a Newcastle team, which lands himself at the top of the A tier. And the moment we've all been waiting for, the S tier. These are the legends that currently define the meta, dominate ranked, and really warp how Apex is currently played. If you want the highest chance to win right now, this is where the real power is. To kick off the S tier, we're going to be talking about Mad Maggie. This legend is an absolute offensive powerhouse. Sorry about that. There was a period where I actually got to play Maggie in comp Apex, and man, this legend is such a bully to other teams. Her drill just provides so much constant pressure, and you really can't go wrong with taking either double drill or big drill. Double drill is great if you kind of want to trap teams into a position where you can kind of force them into a corner, then use the second drill in that corner to just bleed them dry. And big drill is also a great choice because there's some objects and obstacles in Apex where the base drill actually won't bleed through to hit the enemy. Plus, it just covers more area. So if you don't want to have to worry about being more specific with your drill placements while still being super effective, bigger drill might be the better option for you. But both are generally great. Now let's talk about that ult. Maggie's Wrecking Ball is an absolute fight saver. I mean, it can break doors, it can break Newcastle walls, it can break Rampart walls, it can break Gibby Bubble. She just counters every defensive legend in the game. The ball is great in offensive and even defensive scenarios when you're getting pushed. If you've ever experienced losing a fight because you got cataracts from getting hit with a Maggie ball, you'd know how annoying it is to play against this legend. And not even just offensively, but with the speed boost to the Maggie ball, it also serves as a great rotational tool as well, easily making this character a current S tier in the meta. Another clear S tier is going to be the fan favorite Horizon. People have waited so long to see Horizon usable again, and man, has she come back incredibly strong. I mean, this character has seen recent buffs to every part of her utility kit, from her Horizon lift to how her ultimate functions, all the way to the newly introduced glide feature. And oh my god, the glide feature is so busted. The amount of insane getaways and escapes I've seen out of Horizon players this season is absolutely insane. Horizon's glider is like Lifeline's glider, just on steroids. It's basically impossible to catch a Horizon player unless they're also on Horizon. This character is currently just a play-making icon that has probably the most overpowered oopsie button in Apex Legends, making it one of the best picks for more offensive and players who like to get in people's faces. Now, for the remainder of this video, we're going to try something different. That being the current top 3 legends in the game. Coming in at number 3, we're going to be talking about Valk. Valkyrie has seen some recent adjustments that make her just absolutely busted. One of the most detrimental parts of Valkyrie's kit in the past was the amount of time it took to deploy a Valk ult, but that has all been changed recently. Deploying a Valk ult is now substantially quicker, and the speed at which she gains speed has been greatly increased, making her damn near impossible to track now, unless you're standing like right underneath the ult. Another insane addition is in your Valkyrie, you get walls on all enemies in a massive radius, which is insane for not only info gathering, but preventing the infamous blind Valk ult int. If that wasn't enough, she's also seen some rework changes to how her missiles function. So not only do her missiles stun you now, but you can use them while flying too. And this doesn't have to be off of a Valkyrie either. You can use it when you're flying off of any balloon in the game. Combining this with the walls passive allows you to instantly identify an isolated enemy, fly on him, stun him, and kill them basically for free. With so many individuals having extremely poor positioning, this just allows you to punish so many players and instantly win you fight. Coming in at number 2, we are going to be talking about Lifeline. I think Lifeline has received one of the biggest reworks of any legend in Apex history. Lifeline literally does everything you could want and more for the support class. From being able to revive someone without putting yourself out of the fight, to being able to drone people from far away to heal them, all the way to creating an unbreakable barrier, forcing enemies to get in your face. I mean, the legend just does it all for the support class. And when things go south, Lifeline just hops on her drone and she glides the hell out of there. Not only can Lifeline be the backbone of a team, but her also having that escapability just makes her a clear S tier legend. If you're someone who likes the support legend playstyle, this is what you should be playing right now. Which brings us to the number 1 spot. I wonder if anyone has been able to guess which legend it is. Now, there might be a little personal bias in this, but you gotta hear me out. It is none other than Alter. I really think Alter has been the most unique legend that Apex has ever introduced. At this point, I've invested hundreds of hours into this character, and she just completely reinvents the way that you view the terrain and the game around you. Oh, you need to rotate through a choke and a team is holding you? Just Q past them. Zone's closing and you're stuck on the other side of a wall? Just Q through it. A team is camping in the floor above you? Just Q up and fight them. Oh man, but we went down. Don't worry, just take your recall 200 meters away and completely reset for free. I got 400 nades, so if the enemy team takes it, we just nade stack and kill them instantly. I genuinely think Alter has one of the highest skill ceilings of any legend in the game because you have to rethink how you view the terrain. I mean, the playmakeability of this character is absolutely insane. With the right angle, being able to queue behind an enemy and just shoot them in the back without them having any idea can alone just win fights. And if you have a coordinated team, you can just distract them while your teammates take space and pressure them from the other side. I found myself being able to queue behind a team's Newcastle wall and just completely knock one without them having any idea what's going on. And with the current Alter perks, it allows for any type of playstyle. If you want to have zone information, you can pick the zone scan perk. Not only can you get zone info, on top of that, you get 25 more shield and shield regen whenever in the zone. This character being the best playmaker in the game and having the flexibility of choosing your console, in my book, easily making Alter the best legend in the game. Let me know down in the comments if you agreed or disagreed with any of my picks, and let me know where your favorite legend ended up. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting my YouTube journey, and I have a ton of FPS content planned for 2026. So make sure to hit subscribe and click that bell to stay notified for all uploads. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more of the madness.